Okay, today I'm going to show you how easy it is to install a motor kit on a 3-wheel adult trike. Look at the link down below for where to buy the motor kit, and you've got the instructions, so let's get going. Okay, so we've got our kit out of the box here. I kind of have it set up. You've got your major components. Here we have the mounting frame here, which is going to mount to your front forks of your trike or your bicycle. Not pictured here are two U-clamps, two U-bolts. I lost them. I don't know where they're at, but these will mount on here. You've got the screw here, which then goes in to the fender mount or your brake mount here on your forks. If you have a bike that has the V-brakes, where you have the two posts here, you're going to have to cut the posts off, and you're going to have to go with a caliper brake and mount it on the back of your forks here. So the way this works here, you have the R-clip. Let's go ahead and pull that off. The motor just simply goes on to the rod here. You put the R-clip into the pin there. You have the lift lever, which will then be clipped onto the front of the motor. You have your adjuster, which you will adjust to get your cable set right to where when you pull in on the lever, which will mount on your handlebar, it raises the friction roller off of the wheel, and then of course when you release it, it goes down. So you will adjust that accordingly. This lever has a lock on it, so to where you pull in on it, you press on it, and that way it keeps the motor lifted off of the wheel. That way it's you can pedal the bike, and when you're ready, when you pedal the bike up to speed, you release the clutch assembly, the lock pin pops up, the wheel of course drops down onto the motor drops down onto the wheel, starts it turning, and will start the motor up. That's how we get the motor going. The throttle lever is already mounted onto the motor for you. You have some Velcro straps where you can keep things out of the way. You want to make sure that the cable does not get entangled into your spokes. You have the bungee cord. The bungee cord will mount onto the front mounting plate here by your gas cap, and then go down to the hole on the longer arm here of your mounting frame. And you can adjust, you can either tie a knot in the cord itself, or the preferred method is loosen the knot here on the end, get it set to where you've got the optimal tension. You're going to have to play with it some. You get too much tension on it, it's not going to work the best, and of course if you have too little tension on it, it's not going to work the best. You kind of have to play with it, find the sweet spot. You also want to make sure that your tires are inflated to, your front tire is inflated to about 30 psi. We find that that works best with these motors. Let's go over the tires. We've got the ideal tire has a flat profile here, standard beach cruiser tire, to where it's flat. They're slightly rounded here, but overall it's a flat profile, as opposed to this style of tire, which is a rounded profile. The rounded profile tire here, because it's rounded, the rubber roller, it's a friction drive, doesn't have as much surface area to make a contact with. So when your rounded tire does ultimately wear out, be sure and go with a flat profile tire. You're going to have a much better time with it. But if you do have a Schwinn Meridian, or a bike that has the post style, I think what they call the V-brakes on the front end, you're going to need to remove those and use a set of caliper on the back. We'll get into that in more detail. Okay, so here we are. What we're going to need to do on the Schwinn Meridian here, you've got the front brakes in the way. We're going to remove the posts here with a 5mm Allen wrench. Going to go ahead and loosen the cable here, allowing everything to come loose. Okay, so our motor mount is going to go here, and our studs here, the mounting posts for the brakes, are indeed in the way. What we're going to need to do is cut these pieces off right here. You can use a hacksaw or an angle grinder with a cutting tool on it, but these here need to come off. So let's go ahead and get that going. You're gonna do it. Make sure you use a face shield, boys and girls. Now, another option would have been to use a hacksaw to do it, grind everything down smooth afterwards. Now we're going to fit there. We're going to need to cut the fender. The motor is going to come down here and drive the wheel. We're going to cut our fender here at 4 inches away from the front of the post. Okay, so in order to get the post, the bolt, to go through this here on the Schwinn Meridian, we're going to have to drill the back side out because it's threaded. Okay, now then, I've got the hole drilled for my brake assembly. I've got the brake assembly on. The motor mount is going to fit like that. I'm going to put a washer, a lock nut, I'm going to put a flat washer, a lock washer, and then a nylock nut here to hold this on. I've got my U-clamps here. I'm going to put those on. I'm going to orient it like this to keep this spread and keep it away from it. I'm going to get it down low here, right to where this here makes the turn, the crook on it here. I figure that's going to give me my best grip on it. So let's go ahead and get that going. Okay, on some bikes, the stock U-bolt that clamps the motor bracket onto the forks might be a little bit small. I went to the hardware store and I got a 5/16 by 18 U-bolt with about 3-inch long pieces on it. May have to cut it, trim it some to fit. Go ahead and mount it up to your forks there. Get it nice and firm. You want to get it good and tight. If you have be sure and use a lock washer behind it. A nylock nut on it would be great, and some thread locking compound if you have it around, just to make sure that that's not going to go anywhere with the vibration and the like. Here's what it looks like installed. Now then, I'm going to set up and adjust my brakes. Time to mount the motor. The motor simply slips onto the large pin on the mounting bracket, and then you have the arc clip, which goes through the hole drilled at the end of the pin, and that will hold your motor in place. We are ready to mount the throttle. The throttle is a lever which is going to mount on your handlebar and work just like a brake lever. Put it wherever you feel it's going to be the most easily manipulated. Now we have the lift lever or the clutch bracket. What that does, the cable goes through from the lever that is going to lift the motor and take it off the wheel. Put your U-bolts through the over the handlebar and then through the mounting holes in the plate for the lift lever plate there. Be sure and use a flat washer and a lock washer on each one. You need to mount your lift lever plate directly above the motor. You don't want the cable coming at an angle. That will make it hard to lift the motor, so you want it in a straight shot here. Now then, the bungee cord will go into the hole drilled on the motor mounting plate. Goes into it there like that, and then you have a hole drilled into the mounting bar there for the bungee cord. And if you need to, you can either tie a knot in the bungee cord to keep the friction wheel firmly planted against the wheel, or you can loosen the knot at the end of the elastic cord and adjust your knot so you have more or less tension on the motor. Now then, let's go ahead and mount the clutch lever or the lift lever, which will lift the motor. If you notice on the lever for the lift, it has a pin in it that you can lock it. That way you can lock the motor in the up position when you wish to pedal the motor. Go ahead and thread the steel cable through the cable holder on the mounting bracket you have on your handlebar. You will then loop the steel cable through the clip and see how things line up. First, you will put the steel cable through the brass retaining piece that has the 2 screws in it that comes with your kit. The retaining piece is what's going to be used to lock the to keep the cable tight, and as well allow you to adjust the cable. Tighten up the 2 screws. Check it for operation. See to it that when you pull in on the lever, that it lifts the friction roller off of the tire. Alright, so now we are ready to go ahead and put some gas in it. Remember, your gas, you're going to mix it at 40-to-1. That's 3.5 ounces of oil to the gallon. Anywhere from 40-to-1 to 51 is going to be fine. Go through and check and make sure all your hardware is properly tightened. Everything moves freely. Here is the priming bulb. You're going to press in on the priming bulb. It is a clear plastic flexible diaphragm that you will press in. Once you see gas in the priming bulb here and it starts to get harder to pump, you've got gas. There is your off switch. When you press on the off switch, it kills the motor, release it, and it is back in the on position. Looks like we're ready to go ahead and give this thing a ride here. Now, in order to get the bike started, you're going to pull in on the clutch or the lift lever. You're going to pedal the bike up to 5 miles an hour, and then you will immediately release the cable, dropping the motor on the wheel. The wheel will then engage the motor, turn the motor. You will then manipulate the throttle, pull in on your throttle lever, give it some gas, and you're going to be off and going. If it's a little bit cold outside or it hasn't been run, use your choke. I want to thank you for watching my video. Check the link down below for where to buy the motor kit. Thanks for watching.
Another